Hello, everyone. My name is Lawrence Mack, and I'm a librarian with LA County Library. And I welcome you to How to Avoid Online Scams. This program is supported in whole or in part by the U.S. Institute of Museum and Library Services under the provisions of the Library Services and Technology Act, administered in California by the State Librarian. Welcome to How to Avoid Online Scams. And again, my name is Lawrence, and I will be your guide today for how to avoid online scams. Now, in this program, we're going to learn about different types of online scams and how to avoid becoming a victim. Again, if you have any questions during the program, feel free to let me know in the Q&A or the chat, and I will attempt to address them all at the end during our Q&A. For more library news, including upcoming programs, resources, and events, visit us at lacountylibrary.org. And we're on all the major social media platforms, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more at LA County Library. So be sure to check us out there. All right, so here's our description for today's program. Learn how to safely navigate the internet and protect yourself against online scams. Spot and avoid common types of online scams and find resources that are available for victims of fraud or cybercrime. So being comfortable in a digital environment is what this course in this series is all about. Digital literacy is a crucial skill to have in this age of interconnectedness, where almost any device that you use is connected with the internet in some way, shape, or form. Because being digitally literate can help open up a lot more options in terms of productivity, in terms of media consumption, product selection, and a whole lot more. While there are those benefits, learning a new technology can be a little tough and a little intimidating, especially with the topic of online scams. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but there's also some stuff that you should look out for. Don't want to discourage you from exploring the digital world, but online scams are a very frequent reality for internet users and affect many people on a daily basis. So we want you to stay safe. All right, so with great power comes great responsibility. So here's just a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind. So I want to make you aware of the responsibility that you have, the power that you have from accessing the internet. You also have a responsibility to protect yourself, your assets, and those people who are connected to you. Next, I want you to trust but verify. So that basically means if somebody asks you for something potentially valuable on the street, you're probably not going to give it to them if you don't know who they are, if you don't know their identity. And that's what happens online as well. Online scammers pretend to be authority figures or people you know and try to get away with that. They try to ask you for something valuable, and it's your job to verify before handing out information or assets. And lastly, think before you click. So if a link looks suspicious, take a moment, think about it before you click on it. It might just save you some trouble down the road. All right, and here's our topics for today. Our scams, we're going to be covering phishing, ads or e-commerce links, ransomware, online dating scams, and also some additional resources. So let's go with the big topic, phishing. So phishing is a really, really big problem in terms of online scams. It is one of the most troublesome scams that many internet users fall for. So you might be wondering, what is phishing exactly? It's not the type where you go over a body of water and try to hook a fish, although the term does derive from that. As defined by Merriam-Webster, phishing is the practice of tricking internet users into revealing personal or confidential information, which can then be used illicitly. So instead of fishing with an F for actual fish to eat, these online scammers are phishing with a PH for information that they can use to exploit users with. And there are some interesting statistics from the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. So in their 2022 report, phishing was the #1 reported internet crime. Well, why? Because as you'll find out, it's relatively low effort, and it's also a little difficult for people to spot if they're unfamiliar with computers or the digital world. Heck, sometimes experienced internet users fall prey to phishing scams unwittingly. So the FBI in 2022 alone, they had 300,497 reported complaints. So if you think about that, America has a population of about 320 million people. And that means on average, almost 1 in 10 people in the United States experienced and reported a phishing attempt. The actual unreported number may be far greater, as many crime statistics do speculate. And many of those phishing attempts out of those 300,000 did succeed, as the FBI also reported that over $50 million were reported lost as a result of phishing scams, or an average of $173 per phishing complaint. That's hardly chump change. And again, the actual unreported number may be far greater. Some common facts about phishing. It's commonly found through email, through text messages, and through social media. And what phishing attempts usually do, they attempt to impersonate trusted organizations or trusted people. And their goal is to steal sensitive information. Their goal is to steal individuals' social security numbers, bank account numbers, credit card numbers, and also any accompanying personal information, such as full name, address, and any other birthday and other information, which when combined together allows them to very quickly and efficiently perhaps run the credit cards until they reach their limit or withdraw money from the bank. For example, here, it's not limited to normal folks. Huge corporations like Facebook and Google with their own security departments, with their own security professionals can be phished as well. So this headline from 2019, man pleads guilty to phishing scheme that fleeced Facebook and Google to the tune of $100 million. That is quite a lot of money. Now, here's another example. So this is an email from the IRS, or allegedly from the IRS. Now, the one thing that stands out about this is that the IRS will never send people emails, only physical mail. So this email states that, oh, look, dear applicant, see, it's addressed to just an applicant. They've determined that you're eligible to receive a tax refund of $200. So, and to access the form for your tax refund, please click here. So if somebody received an email from the IRS, they're banking on you going, oh, look, I can get $200. You know, it's a nice amount of money. And so they're banking on people being anticipating and not really thinking it through before clicking on the link there. It might send you to this form. So this tax refund online form, and get tax refund on your Visa or MasterCard now. So, you know, the IRS does not do anything remotely like this. But see, they're having you fill out all this information, all this sensitive information. Note that it asks for your social security number. It asks for your bank name, your your credit card number, all of that accompanying information, the security code on the back, the expiration date and year, and also the ATM PIN as well. And that's everything a scammer needs to make withdrawal attempts from either the bank account or the credit card or even the ATM. Huge red flags. And so this is an example of a phishing attempt. So ads in e-commerce, these are usually ads that you see on the side of websites, either on the side or on the bottom. And these usually have very explicitly have this small ad next to it. And they usually have really sensationalist headlines. They promise deep discounts or some kind of shocking news. No one expected a penny like this to be worth $1 million. Take a look at some of the most valuable pennies worth holding onto. So now, while it seems like really cool, you might find that your penny is worth $1 million. So it's a sensationalist headline, and you might be tempted to click on that. Now, usually, if you click on this, it will lead to another website that might have a product advertisement, or it might lead to something worse, like phishing or malware that will attempt to install itself on your computer. Again, if you find something is too good to be true, it actually is. So here are some examples of ads in e-commerce. So for example, like Halloween LED mask, 50% off now. So that's a big discount that they're advertising. So somebody around Halloween, they might want to click on that to find a cool costume. Here, this ad, put a bottle on your car tire when parking alone. So always place a plastic bottle on your car tire when traveling alone. Here's why. So here, their headline kind of hooks you in because it appeals to your sense of safety. When you're parking alone or when you're traveling alone, here's something to do. Why? Well, they're not going to tell you unless you click on it. So that lures you into clicking on it by appealing to your sense of safety. And then also here, multi-collagen protein powder pure, in stock from Ancient Nutrition. So, they're promoting some sort of beauty or health product. So if you click on that, it'll probably lead you to a page where they want to take your information to buy this product, but you may or may not receive this product, but they'll probably be stealing your information to use for illicit purposes anyways. So again, if you see on a website that has the small ad on the side, that means these are just paid ads. So what these companies do is they pay these websites. They pay whatever website you're on. Like, let's say you're on Yahoo, or if you're on like CNN or anything like that, and you see these ads and you see that it's explicitly marked ad, that means these companies, they're just paying the website for space to advertise whatever they want on the website. Okay, and it's not affiliated with the website that you're on. So for example, if you're on Yahoo and you see these ads, they're not affiliated with Yahoo in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so next we're going to move on to ransomware. All right, so ransomware is what's known as malware or malicious software that holds your device hostage. So, the old term, if somebody's being held for ransom, that means that person's being held for a cash payment. This is the same concept, except that they're holding your device or your information hostage until payment is made. Now, again, in 2022, the FBI had 2,385 ransomware complaints. That's less than phishing, but it's still a significant amount. And that led to approximately $34 million in losses. Now, ransomware can come from a variety of areas. It can come from phishing emails. So, for example, if you clicked a link in a phishing email, that link might just install some malware on your device, and then that just takes over your device and holds it for ransom. Ransomware can come from clicking on ads. So let's say you clicked on something like this. If you click on that link, it might lead to an app installing itself on your device and holding it ransom. And it can also come from just downloading sketchy files or apps. Again, these might come from emails or social media. If somebody posts a link on your feed or or directly to you and you click on that, it might lead to ransomware. So again, when in doubt, don't click on that link. Now, the good news is ransomware is less common for targeting ordinary folks like you or me. What ransomware does, they seek to target increasingly companies, organizations with more monetary budgets, with more assets that can be paid up. So you might have heard about this in the news a few years ago so this is a headline from the New York Times. Remember when the Colonial Pipeline, that gas pipeline on the East Coast, was shut down for a while? That's because they were a victim to ransomware. And they had to pay roughly $5 million in ransom to those hackers before their gas could be flowing again. So again, just be careful what you click and be careful where you visit online, because you definitely don't want ransomware to be tying up your device and holding your information hostage. All right, next we'll get to online dating scams. So online dating scams, these are a little trickier than the last three that I mentioned. So this is when an individual believes they're in an online relationship, and this individual is tricked into sending money and or personal information to their online paramour. Now, in 2022, the FBI had a little over 19,000 complaints about online dating scams. However, this led to over 735 million in victim losses. So if you notice, for phishing, it was about 50 million in losses. And for ransomware, it was about 34 million in losses for 2022. But online dating scams had over 700 million in victim losses. So that averages out to about over 35,000 in losses for each complaint. Now you might be thinking, why are these losses so large in comparison to phishing or ransomware? Well, that's because online dating scams, they're not just one-shot scams. So in phishing, you might just click on it, your information gets phished, and but once that victim finds out that their credit card has been drained or their bank account has been accessed, they're just going to shut that down. That victim's going to call the bank, they're going to call the credit card, and they're going to shut that down. And it's the same thing with ransomware. They're holding the device ransom for hostage. Once that money's paid, they'll usually release the data, release their hold on your device. However, with online dating scams, the victim might not realize that they are being scammed until a certain amount of time later. This could be weeks, could be months. And by that time, they've been sending money or assets or personal information to the scammer over a longer period of time. Now, these online dating scams, they usually target single older adults. So basically people with on average more assets accumulated. And the initial scammer contact can come from legitimate dating sites. It can come from social media or chat rooms or just anywhere on the internet. Now, while this is a little trickier to navigate, there's signs that can help you recognize an online romance scammer. So for example, they'll usually say that they're located far, far away from the intended victim. And what that means, it gives them an excuse to not meet face to face with that victim. Next, they'll start asking for money. So they might ask for money to help out with a situation. They might just ask for money to, for example, a popular excuse is to help them leave their location and come visit. There's always an excuse for more money. And one of the more popular ones is like a sob story. They had they had a relative pass away, maybe they need funeral money, anything else, they'll try to use that to wheedle away and ask for as much money as they can. And also, another sign of an online romance scammer might be too good to be true. So, for example, let's say the old Nigerian prince trick. So that's basically when the romance scammer says that they are royalty in some foreign country, and that they need you to send them some money so that they can unlock their funds or inheritance. And then after that, they're going to share their vast inheritance with the victim. If it's too good to be true, it usually is. So here are some ways to protect yourself. To protect yourself and not be a victim of an online scam. So first is don't give out any personal or financial information. Any requests for personal or financial information, make sure to verify those requests with the legitimate organization through their website or their customer service number, or even better, visit a store in person and talk to a representative there. And they'll be able to confirm whether or not their organization reached out to you to ask for information. Next, you want to use protective software and apps such as antivirus software or firewall software on your devices. So whether it's on your computer laptops, on your mobile phones, make sure to have some sort of protective software and apps which can help deflect common types of scams, especially the like malware and ransomware. A lot of antivirus apps do include filters for those types of scams. And again, be careful with downloads and with clicking on links. So again, whenever you're downloading files, or you're downloading applications, or you're downloading email attachments, especially, make sure to think before you download it, and make sure it's from a legitimate source. Now, there are organizations that scam victims can turn to for assistance. And also, the most important one is the Federal Trade Commission. So they have a lot of educational materials on identifying different types of fraud, especially like phishing, malware, ransomware, and any reports, complaints that are made helps the government to fight fraud. And that's the link right there. And then also the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They accept anonymous tips and reports about fraud, and they publish a report every year that has statistics about different types of fraud, which I used in this presentation. And also for any scams that targeted victims' credit cards, things that might affect their credit score, they should definitely call the credit bureaus, the big three, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, to put a freeze on the credit score and to prevent any unauthorized and prevent any more unauthorized transactions. And again, if victims feel that their bank accounts are compromised, if their credit cards are compromised, make sure to call the banks, the credit card companies, to put a freeze on those accounts. And also, it wouldn't hurt to file a police report, the local police as well. The library has more resources on online safety, especially on our online learning platforms. So on LinkedIn Learning, Gale Courses, and Universal Class, you can find a lot of information and a lot of courses on internet safety. As you can see on the image here, there's courses on learning computer security and internet safety for students, and also just basic computer literacy for Windows 10 and 11. So that can definitely help computer users get more comfortable in a digital environment and also learn some tips about basic internet safety. And also there's library programming as well, such as this digital literacy series. We do offer a lot of courses deal with internet safety and cybersecurity, and just being safe online. So make sure to continue to come to our digital literacy courses for more tips on staying safe on the internet. And again, if you have questions about the topics in this presentation or on anything at all, more than welcome to speak to a librarian. We're available over the phone, on text, email, and instant librarian on the days and times listed there. You can find more information on these methods at lacountylibrary.org/contact us. Or you're more than welcome to come to any physical library location, come to the reference desk. We'll be more than happy to help you with your informational needs. All right, so to recap, we learned what are some common online scams, and we learned where to turn to if you're a victim of online scams, and what are some resources you can use to protect yourself and further your learning. Okay, so before I conclude, I want to impress upon you just 3 simple points. So if you come away with anything from this program, I want you to remember these 3. So I want you to secure yourself and your assets. All right. Protecting yourself, especially online, is very, very important because online scams are not fun, and they are a hassle that that all of us can do without. I want you to trust but verify. All right. So you definitely trust, but can verify before you hand over personal information or before you send funds or anything like that. Lastly, I want you to think before you click. So again, if the link looks sketchy or if you're having second thoughts, just think about it and just think about it. You really want to click that link. It might save you a world of trouble later. Okay, so thank you so much for attending this presentation. Now it's time for the Q&A. Looks like we do have a couple of questions and Q&A. So let's take a look. Let's see, let's turn on the chat. All right, so let's see. All right, so I recently got a suspicious email that I hovered over but didn't open. It looks like an invite to malware. So that's good. So it's good to be suspicious online. So usually for emails, they're okay to view the contents, but don't click on any links in suspicious emails because those are the pathways that lead to things such as malware being installed or phishing attempts, like we saw earlier with the IRS form. If you click on a link in an email, then it'll usually take you to a web page with a form that might be a phishing attempt. Oh, excellent. So here somebody also posted a link to Intuit e-commerce service email scam explained. So this is so this kind of explains an e-commerce email scam. Let's see. Next, I need a billing invoice from this person, but this seems unsafe. What should I do? Well, let me check out this. Scammers are sending fake emails claiming to be. Okay, so for this question, let's see. For the malware tips question, if you could email either Oleg or myself, just reply on the follow-up email that we're going to send out, because it looks a little bit more involved. So I'm just going to take some time to research it. All right. Okay, next question. If I get Apple News, are those ads also suspicious? So if you get Apple News and you're subscribing to Apple News, those ads that you see, usually it's best to just not click on those ads. But because you don't know if Apple News actually investigated those ads or not, where they lead. So basically on any news website, don't click on the ads. Okay. Okay. Okay, so for suspicious emails, it's usually not okay to open suspicious emails. What I meant to say was if you already accidentally clicked open an email, usually nothing will happen as long as you don't click on any links or download any of the attachments found in the email. But if you see a suspicious email and you notice it before you open it, then it's best not to open the suspicious email. All right. Next question. Are the news items on, for example, AOL Home, okay to click on? Okay, so for news items on home pages, like let's say you're on, I guess, AOL Home, or if you're on Yahoo's homepage, or if you're on like MSN's homepage, and they have their news articles, those are okay to click on, but make sure that first they don't have that little ad on the side. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you what the news items and what the ads are. Okay, so, all right. So can everybody see my web browser? Okay, so for here, I'm going to go to, let's say, yahoo.com. Okay. So if you're scrolling down, so these are all news right here. Now, again, so this is a news story. As you can see, it comes from, for example, the Army Times. But then here, this is an ad. Okay, so they have these ads hidden in between these news stories, but you can see it for what it is with this ad right here. So basically, don't click on anything with an ad. But if you scroll down, this is news. They'll usually include the source. So this is like celebrity news from People's, from Deseret News. So as you keep scrolling down, you see, oh, look, there's another ad. So these are hidden in news sites all the time. So just make sure that you're aware and you don't click these ads here. All right. So let's go back. Next question. I got a call about some organization that found an uncashed check to me. Then they emailed me. They said I need to pay them a recovery fee. Is that a common scam? Yes. So that is definitely a scam. Do not pay any sort of recovery fees for organizations. If they just said an uncashed check out of the blue. If you weren't expecting that check, it's a scam. All right. So don't pay any recovery fees for uncashed checks. That is definitely a scam. Next question. I had a Norton window pop up and offer additional service. Kept adding links. Finally, I called. They told me I had to give them the number of my request to reset my password. I said no. Is it common to get Norton fake ads? Well, so if you do use Norton antivirus, they might give you ads every now and then. But if you don't use Norton antivirus and you keep getting these pop-ups and ads, you should not give out any information, especially if you don't use, let's say, Norton antivirus and they send you, and this keeps popping up on your device, don't respond to it, and look into maybe uninstalling it if you don't use it. Next question. Does my antivirus get rid of downloads from my accidental ad clicks? So not all ad clicks will download files automatically. Some of them will just lead to websites that try to sell you on a product. If you're, and again, for your antivirus, it depends. So there's a lot of different antivirus programs out there, and there's a lot of different settings with each antivirus program. So it depends if they're set to block certain downloads as well. But usually if what you're trying to download from an accidental ad click, if that's malware, generally the antivirus program should block that download automatically. Next question. Any concerns with Nextdoor? I'm not sure what Nextdoor refers to. Could you elaborate a little further with Nextdoor in quotes? I'll move on to the next one. But yeah, if you could provide some explanation on what's Nextdoor. Okay, next question. What does my VPN do for me besides hide my IP? Okay, so your VPN, or virtual private network, it hides your IP address, and it also hides the internet activity from your internet service provider. So that basically means nobody else on the network can see what you're doing, can see your internet activity. So it's good if you're in a public, if you're using a public network, like let's say you're in a coffee shop or you're using a public Wi-Fi network somewhere, and you want to access some sensitive information. A VPN is good because it shields your activity from whoever else is using that public network at the time. Next question. Do not reply emails. Should I never open? Yeah, if they're do not reply emails from complete strangers or from organizations that you don't, that you don't work with or have no connection with, don't open it. If they need, if an organization or individual needs to connect with you enough, they'll usually, besides emails, they might send you phone calls or actual letters in the post to contact you. All right, next question. I got a pop-up in the middle of the night from Apple iPhone text featured that I needed to click for update. Now, due to virus. Odd or not? Let's see. So I got a pop-up in the middle of the night from Apple iPhone text that I need to click for update now due to virus. Odd or not? So if I understand this question correctly, if you receive a text on your phone in the middle of the night that says you need to click whatever link is in that text for an update due to a virus, that's definitely odd. Don't click the link, especially if they're just texting you in the middle of the night. Definitely do not click any links. Because if it's not a notification from your antivirus program or an update prompt from Apple itself in the settings, don't click any text message links that tell you need to update. Next question. Is it okay to look at an ad if you don't click on any links? Yes. So again, like on the Yahoo page I showed you earlier, there's those ads in the middle. You can definitely read what they have in that little blurb and look at that picture. As long as you don't click into the ad itself, it's perfectly safe. But yeah, don't click into any ad or don't download anything that you're unfamiliar with. Looking's fine. Okay. Do you use Norton? Okay, next question. I have been getting pop-up ads on my cell phone. How do I stop them? Okay. If you're getting pop-up ads on your cell phone, you might need to download like an antivirus software and scan your phone. Especially if your phone is like an Android, there's a lot of antivirus programs that you can download. Apple's the same, but I find that it's a little less because for Apple apps, it's hard to install an outside app that hasn't been vetted by the Apple Store. But definitely download an antivirus software and run a scan and see if it can clean your phone up. Because pop-up ads on cell phones are not, they're not normal. Next question. So it's okay to bank with open Wi-Fi if you use VPN. So it's safer if you use a VPN on an open Wi-Fi network. So it definitely adds an additional layer of security rather than if you just connect to the open Wi-Fi without a VPN and bank. Now, I would say the safest way to go if you want to bank virtually is to just connect with a Wi-Fi network in your home or in a trusted place rather than a public open Wi-Fi network. Okay, next question. When a message comes up that your computer has an update, is it okay to click or any other software I have? Like if I get a notice that Windows 11 update is ready to install or Office 365 is ready to update. Okay, so for the computers, if you get notices to, that a Windows 11 update or an Office 365 update is ready to install, that is usually legitimate. if they're just pop-ups from Windows itself. If they're not like if they're not pop-ups on your web browser, but they're like your system notifications, then that usually does mean that your Windows or your Microsoft Office does have an update that that's ready to install. Okay, so for that, that's usually legitimate. Make sure that those pop-ups do not come from a web browser. So if the pop-ups are from Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or Internet Explorer or anything like that, don't click it. If those pop-ups are from Windows itself, if they're part of the Windows interface, then it should be legitimate. Let's see. Next question. Not a text. Oh, so this is a continuation from before. Not a text, but a pop-up window notification from iPhone. Said I should turn off and restart my phone immediately. Implication was that I needed to stop a virus. I've not seen anything like that on my iPhone. But if you do restart your phone, that's not a bad practice. It's good practice to restart your devices every so often, just so it can refresh itself. But maybe you should have like a tech expert take a look at it just to make sure. Because I've not seen that on my iPhone before. All right, next question. I downloaded an antivirus software and a lot of ads still pop up. What else can I do? So if a lot of ads are still popping up on a device, just downloading an antivirus software won't stop the ads. Within the antivirus software, there's a function where you can run a scan for viruses, like a removal scan. So what it does is it'll scan your device for viruses and then give you the option to remove them or not. And that's usually what it takes to get rid of ads popping up if the cause of those pop-ups is already some malware that's been installed on a device. Next question. Are there many concerns when using the program Nextdoor? This program shows me what is going on in my neighborhood. Your neighbors post to this portal. Let me see what Nextdoor is. I'm not too familiar with that. So it looks like Nextdoor is an app for neighborhoods where you can get local tips and exchange recommendations and read the latest news. Okay, so it's kind of like an internet, like a local posting board or a local chat room, it looks like. It looks like it's a legitimate app. Let's see, Nextdoor app. So it looks like it's just basically like a posting board for the neighborhood. But I would say use Nextdoor at your own discretion. Just like any chat rooms. If you want to use Nextdoor, just yeah, make sure you don't give out any information about yourself, any personal or financial information on Nextdoor. see. Oh, somebody else said, I've used Nextdoor quite a bit and got some good information on it. So it looks like there's an endorsement from a fellow from a fellow attendee. Okay, next question. How do you distinguish pop-ups from browser or Windows or Dell? Okay, so I assume this is this is connected with the update pop-ups for Windows 11 and for Office 365. So how do you distinguish whether the pop-ups are from the browser or from Windows itself? And the way to do that is to see when it pops up, you want to see what app icon is highlighted on your taskbar on the bottom of the page. So if it's from Google Chrome or Firefox or Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge or something like that, when you click on that pop-up, if you just go to that pop-up, the icon of the internet browser should be highlighted in the taskbar on the bottom of your Windows screen. If it's from Windows 11 or from Microsoft 365, those pop-ups, then it should not be attached to a browser icon located on your taskbar. Okay. Looks like there's another endorsement for Nextdoor from an attendee. I use Nextdoor and have posted on it to see items. No personal information is given out on it. Okay, so it's two attendees who've got good things to say about it. Let's see what else we have. What else do we have? Okay, next question. Can you review what losses are possibly recoverable due to internet phishing? So for recoverable losses, that's hard to do unless they can trace where the money was sent. The money might be recoverable then if they can trace where it was sent. That's probably a question for the bank and or law enforcement. Because especially if the money was drained, well, especially if the money was sent to an account that was then drained, that might be a little difficult to recover, but probably best posed to either the bank or to law enforcement. Next question in the chat. I went to Bank of America with a phishing email. They couldn't care less. They wouldn't even take a copy of the email I had. Why? Well, because probably the email was not affiliated with Bank of America. And for these organizations, there's probably so many phishing attempts and phishing instances of phishing that occur that they probably don't have they probably don't have the time to address every single instance of that. And even though the scammer was posing as Bank of America, that's probably a matter for law enforcement to deal with, not the bank itself. Next question. How do I get phished by clicking on a link? I thought you had to be tricked into giving out personal info. So in many ways, that's correct. So you might not get phished just by clicking on a link, but it might install malware or ransomware on your device. And if it installs an app on your device, that app might just dig in your device for your data and then send it out automatically without you knowing. So that's another way to get phished um, if if you just click on a link. So again, clicking on a link might not directly lead to being phished, but it might lead to malware, which then might lead to automatically being phished. So it's always best to just, if in doubt, don't click the link. Okay. Next question. Let's see. Just FYI, my friend was called from her bank and they confirmed all her information by giving it to her first. I found that odd. And then they told her that someone hijacked her email and stole her money. They told her she needed to set up a new email address and they would transfer the stolen funds back into her account. Long story, but by the time she called back her account, they used her new email account and stole $7,000 over a 2-day period. The real bank told her that that was her loss. Interesting. When she got the FBI involved, the bank reimbursed her. So what you just mentioned, what your friend went through, when they called and confirmed all her information with her first, that usually means they found information about her from some way. It might be openly available information on the internet, or they might have gone through your friend's mail and pieced together the information there. Because again, so here's a tip for any sensitive mail, real mail that you receive with personal information, make sure to rip it up or shred it before you throw it away in the trash can. Because there are these scammers who will go dumpster diving. They will go dig in the trash and they will look up, discarded letters from the bank that usually have that person's name and address and all of that on it. And they'll piece together a profile on people and use that information, for example, in that way to pull off their scam. So what they did, when they called your friend and confirmed all her information first, they're using that to put your friend at ease. And then once that rapport is built, then they go the next step and then get whatever information they need afterwards. So just definitely make sure to shred all of your documents if they have, your address or other sensitive information on it. Shred it before you toss it. Again, it can save you a world of trouble later. But also good on your friend for getting her money back. When she got the FBI involved, the bank reimbursed her. Good on her. Let's see, next question. If someone's library card information is compromised, will the person be held responsible for items checked out if the library card owner reported this to the library in a timely manner? This is hypothetical. Gosh, that is a pretty good question. So I'm not sure. I would have to check with our library administration for that. But I think exceptions can be made in extreme cases like this. Let's see. Next comment. Also, corporations don't like to have the public or their competitors know their fraud rates. This is why we sometimes are slow to know what the fraud types are and what a bank's fraud rate is. That is definitely true. Corporations don't like their dirty laundry being aired. So again, I'm taking what the FBI posted in their report with a grain of salt, because the actual number of cases and losses are probably far greater than what's being reported. Okay, let me see. Okay, so for the earlier question, let's see, you need a billing invoice from this person, but it seems unsafe. What should I do? So if you're getting an Intuit or e-commerce service email scam, and they're requesting a billing invoice from you, if they do need something, they're more likely to call you or send you a letter in the mail for you to submit it. Submitting a billing invoice over email is, especially if it's from, see, Intuit, probably should double check that and probably don't send it until they confirm via other methods. Okay. Next question. So if you do use Norton and you're receiving pop-ups from them, urging you to upgrade. So for certain antivirus programs, they do have pop-ups from time to time that urge you to upgrade to like another tier, especially if you're using free antivirus. They might sometimes, once in a while, send you a pop-up, but it shouldn't be all the time. So yeah, if you do use Norton and they do send you some pop-ups, that might be normal, but if they send you pop-ups all the time, maybe think about switching to another antivirus software package. Okay. All right. So are there any more questions? If there aren't any more questions, just let me. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions, if I could ask you to please fill out our post-event survey. I'll post the link here. It gives us feedback on our programs and lets us know what topics you're interested in so that we can incorporate it into our curriculum. Okay, and with that being said, thank you so much for attending, and I hope to see you next time.